Good morning. Thank you for joining us. When the Social Security program was created back in the 1930s, we had a different set of demographics that we were dealing with. We had a lot more workers paying into the system relative to the number of retirees drawing benefits from the system. Obviously, a lot can happen over that period of time, and a lot has happened. As a result, we face a shortfall of $5 to $6 trillion between what has been promised to beneficiaries of Social Security or future beneficiaries and what the system is actually equipped presently to pay out. We want to fix that. We want to make it sustainable over a 75-year period and sustainable in perpetuity. We speak in terms of 75 years because that's what we can look to based on demographic data available to us now. With that objective in mind, Senators Graham and Paul and I came together a couple of months ago and we set down some basic objectives. We decided that we wanted to make Social Security solvent in perpetuity, be able to demonstrate its solvency over a 75-year period, and to do so, moreover, without raising taxes and without touching benefits in any way for those people who are already retired and those people over the age of 56. To our great happiness, we're able to announce today that we have achieved that objective. We've done that by addressing issues involving the retirement age, involving eligibility for benefits, and involving the manner in which, and the rate at which benefits are escalated over time. So that's what we're here to announce today. I want to thank Senators Graham and Paul and their staffs for their help in this. And we hope to be able to answer any questions you may have. And I'll let each of my colleagues in this project now say a few words, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you. Social Security is broken. Without question, Social Security is broken for two reasons. We're living longer, and we had a whole lot of people that were born after World War II, the baby boomers. Now, some have argued that it's not broken and we don't need to do anything. That is a mistake. To stick our head in the sand and do nothing is really a mistake. If we do nothing, entitlements and interests will crowd out all spending and will occupy the entire budget within a little more over a decade. Now, to those who say, well, it's not really broken, it's not a big problem, if you look at this graph right over here behind Senator Lee, this shows the debt that will be added over the next 75 years. It's in deficit virtually every year. This is the first year that we're now paying out more in Social Security than we're bringing in. What we lack here in Washington, and particularly coming from the White House, is leadership. It's not too difficult to figure out how to fix this problem, but we wanted to be out there and fix the problem by not raising taxes. We think it's a mistake to raise taxes on those who are creating jobs. And so what we do is the two things that Senator Lee referred to: allow the age to rise gradually and means test the benefits. If you talk to young people in America, they've already accepted this. I tell people that the knowledge has already been discounted. Young people know the age will have to go up gradually. This is a solution. We're not afraid to propose the solution, and that's what this town needs. It's what the country needs, is leadership in proposing these solutions. It does it without affecting anybody who's retired or near retirement age. It eliminates a problem. The problem is the $5 to $6 trillion that is unfunded. This fixes it completely. The numbers have all been crunched, and it works. We want it to be seriously considered, and we will begin promoting this to our colleagues today. Now I'd like to introduce Senator Graham.
Well, thank you. This is a CQ picture of me. It's actually a pretty good photo. They're hard to find. I had to get one because there are not many of them out there. It's 2005. Touching the third rail. Maverick Lindsey Graham is ready to take the big risk on remaking Social Security. Will Democrats go along? No, they didn't in 2005. Now, at the end of the day, I don't want to be here. I'd like to be in the Senate in 2015, but I don't want to be talking about Social Security. Every year you wait, it makes it much harder. Why the three of us? These are the only two guys I could find. And I'm the only guy they could find. It's not like we auditioned a bunch of people and we just settled on the three of us. There's a real reluctance by Republicans and Democrats to talk about what I think is the easiest of the entitlements to save. And when you talk about Social Security, 50% of today's seniors would be in poverty without Social Security checks. What will happen in the future? Defined benefit plans are dinosaurs. In the private sector, it's going to be very difficult to get a retirement plan where they pay you a certain amount every month guaranteed. Almost everybody I'm talking to on camera and in this audience has a 401k plan. You're likely to outlive that 401k plan if life expectancy continues. The good thing is that we're all living longer. The bad thing is that Social Security was based on assumptions in 1935, as Mike said, don't exist today. There's not enough money coming in the future to pay the benefits to the baby boomers. And it is going to cause in 2037 draconian choices if we do nothing. In 2037, you're going to have to raise FICA taxes by 1/3 or cut benefits by 25%. One quick story. When I was 21, my mom died. When I was 22, my dad died. My sister was 13. My parents owned a restaurant and a liquor store. When my parents died, we moved in with an aunt and uncle that worked in the textile mills in South Carolina. My sister received a survivor benefit check from my parents' contribution that helped us pay the bills. Back then, she received a check while she was going to college. I was 21, 22. We needed every penny we could receive from Social Security. I'll be 56 in July. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. I can give up some future benefits if it will save the system. If we do nothing in 2037, people like the situation I was in the 70s are going to have their benefits cut. So what do? We protect people by acting now. Under our plan, if during your 40-year work period you made $43,000 or less, you're not subject to means testing. If we do nothing, everybody in America is going to be hit. The richest person in the country and the poorest person. That's not right. So this plan, by acting now, protects people who make $43,000 or less during their work life. What do? We take what Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill did in 1983 and we don't stop in 2020. In 2020, under the Tip O'Neill-Ronald Reagan plan, they went from 65 to 67. We continue adjusting the age up to 70, and it reaches 70 in 2032. Someone born in 1970 will be the first group in America to have to work till they're 70. They have 26 years to get ready for that. If we'll adjust the age to 70 and act today and not wait another 5 years, we can protect more Americans than if we wait. So right now, there are people out there working today who will not be affected by means testing. If we do what Harry Reid suggested, call me in 20 years, you're going to have to retirement age far beyond 70, and you're going to have to start means testing benefits for people that make less than $43,000. What we do and when we do it really does matter. We've been able to achieve solvency in a sustainable manner in a way that I think protects the most people possible, and we're asking upper income Americans to forego future benefits rather than raising their taxes. What does it mean for me? Why did we pick 56? I turned 56 in July. I've been working on this for 9 years. I'm now over 55. I want to include my age group. It means I have to work 1 month longer and I get $9 a month less. For upper income Americans, by 2030, you're going to be giving up close to $300 a month. That helps save Social Security. It's something you could afford to do. It's better for you to give up $300 a month in future benefits than it is to raise taxes now, because if we raise taxes on people now, it will cost other people jobs. I'm very proud of the effort. To the President, at 1:30, you're going to talk about a new way of budgeting. When you produced your budget, Mr. President, you didn't touch entitlements, and you really didn't do much about the long-term obligations of this country. I applaud you for re-engaging. If the President today will put entitlement reform on the table, we intend to work with him and anyone else, because I can tell you that Social Security is a meaningful program that's going to fail if we do nothing. It is worth saving. It is worth having ads run against you when you try to save it. Why are we not raising FICA taxes, the cap, income subject to Social Security taxation? There's not the votes to do that. In 2005, I had a plan that saved Social Security from bankruptcy. It had a personal account. It allowed you to take part of the money you would have paid into Social Security and put it in a private account. I'm here to tell you today I still believe in that, but it will not get 60 votes. That is a political option. That is an option to save Social Security that's politically not viable because of the stock market crash. I'm here to tell you that if you propose saving Social Security by raising taxes, it will not get the votes. This is the way forward that saves Social Security, that takes personal accounts off the table and raising taxes, and the good news is that we get there. And the longer we wait to do this, the more we have to affect people who can't afford to be affected. So this is the moment, this is the time. Mr. President, if you're listening, you've got 3 people who'll be willing to work with you to save Social Security in a way that will keep it solvent for 75 years without raising taxes, and it protects as many people as possible from means testing. Take us up on it. Thank you.
We're open for questions.
Hi. I was wondering whether you feel like this Social Security form should be addressed in the 2012 budget, and whether you feel like Representative Paul Ryan's plan as the House GOP should have addressed this issue as well.
What I would say is the sooner the better. Every year you wait, if you wait a year on our plan, it probably doesn't work. If you wait 2 years, I can tell you our plan won't work. What does that mean? If you wait 2 years to fix Social Security, the age will have to either be higher or the means test will have to go lower. It works now. We've been crunching these numbers for 2 months. It works now, but the longer you wait, the less likely it is to work and the more difficult and onerous the plan will be. So we need to start now, and that's why we're asking for some leadership in this town.
Two quick questions. Have you talked to any, you said that you're the only 3 standing here, but is that just within the Republican conference? Did you try to get Democrats?
Well, I tell you, I've been working on this for, since 2003. I want to thank President Bush for putting on the table way back when. Yes, we've let our colleagues know that we're interested in a product to save Social Security. We really haven't marketed it yet, but we're asking for people to join us, Republicans and Democrats. And again, to the President today, I am very pleased that you're talking about budgets that would have entitlement reform. To the gang of 6, I'm very pleased that you're working on entitlement reform. I'm just telling you, from my perspective, after having done this for almost a decade, I know what's possible. You're not going to pass a Social Security plan that increases taxes, and you're not going to have a Social Security plan with a personal account in it.
I just follow up on the age. There was some talk, maybe it's even coming from members of the Gang of 6, of saying, well, separating out people who do manual labor, who might not be able to physically work until they're 70 years old. Did you talk about any of that?
No, because everybody has to contribute some to solvency. At the end of the day, if you're unable to work, we save Social Security disability. Our plan will allow the disability portion of Social Security to be viable. If you're unable to work because of a physical problem, you can apply for Social Security disability. At the end of the day, when you start carving out different professions, this thing's going to come unraveled.
Paul, you had advocated in the past private accounts for Social Security. Why not go that far now? Why compromise on that?
Well, because I'm a moderate, you guys have found out, that I'm truly at heart, I am a moderate. No, I'm like Senator Graham. I still believe in the idea and the fuel. In fact, if you came to me as a young person and said, can I rely on my Social Security? We're going to fix it, but I'd still tell you, invest in a 401k. I'll bet you 99% of this room has a 401k. Private accounts still are good. It is a way to compound your interest and make money, but I would say that this is the political thing that has to be done. I don't even think this is a compromise. This has to be done to fix the system, or we dig our hole even deeper. And I think Senator Graham's exactly right. Right now, privatization, there's not enough votes for privatization, and there's definitely not the votes for raising taxes. And I think it's a much better trade-off to give up benefits on the end side than it is to pay taxes now, because government doesn't spend money wisely. So I don't want more money up here. I don't want to bring in more taxes.
And one difference there is, Nothing about this plan, if put in place today, would preclude a future Congress from going there at some point, if and when the votes are there. But if we don't act today, if we don't do this or something very similar to it, that does preclude us from going back to this. It makes it much more difficult down the road to address the problem, because as baby boomers move closer and closer to retirement, this gets more and more difficult to fix if we don't act.
A number of your colleagues, including those on the stage, have been very forceful in saying that cutting spending will create jobs. You've said that you will, quote, tie the Senate in knots over $50,000 in cuts to Charleston.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could explain how you square this.
It's pretty easy. The Obama administration said they wanted to double exports in 5 years in the United States. Count me in. Well, you need infrastructure to ship goods to other places in the world. The Port of Charleston, last year, over the course of years, BMW sent $4 billion worth of cars out of the Port of Charleston made in Greenville to be sold around the world. The Obama budget had no money to deepen the Port of Charleston. In 2014, shipping is going to change in the world. The Panama Canal has become deeper, and supercargo ships are going to dominate the shipping lanes. And ports on the East Coast need to get ready for infrastructure improvement. In my state, the Port of Charleston accounts for 1 in 5 jobs. In my state, there's 260,000 jobs directly or indirectly tied to the viability of the Port of Charleston. We need to deepen our harbor to 50 feet. In a 6 or 7 year period, it will cost $350 million. The federal government will be on the hook for half of it. The state will be on the hook for the other half, but we need to get started. You can't deepen the harbor until you do the study. I need $40,000 to $50,000 to do the study in 2011. There was no money in the Obama budget, and I got to find a way to make sure that my port moves forward and we don't create economic chaos in South Carolina. So if you're a Republican and you want to create jobs, then you need to invest in infrastructure that will allow us to create jobs. So for $40,000 or $50,000, we can keep on track the deepening of a port that is a huge economic engine for the Southeast. We have lost our way. The Obama administration talks about export jobs, and if you don't invest in ports, how are you going to get the goods to the other parts of the world? The Congress, Republicans and Democrats, talk about creating jobs. How can you create jobs by shutting a port down where 260,000 people depend on it?
Yes, Senator. Your chart there claims at the bottom that eliminates $6.2 trillion your plan does in federal debt. Now, how does it do that? Is that going to take off from the 14 or so, 13 or so trillion we have now, or is that in?
No, this is unfunded liability that we accumulate over 75 years. Right now, and it depends on which number you go with. Both of them are from Social Security. It's either 5.4 or 6.2. It depends on how you add in the current surplus or the current fund. But basically, that's what we will incur over 75 years. That's the problem, and that's the problem we fix.
Senators and your colleagues have talked about things that they want to see before they have a vote on the debt limit. Michael Rubio's talked about entitlement reform is one thing. Eric Cantor's mentioned that. Would you vote to increase the debt limit if this was brought up as part of that discussion, part of that vote?
For me, no. This is not something that would convince me to vote to increase the debt limit. This is something we need to do. But this is not something that, if adopted, would convince me that that was a necessary, adequate condition precedent for raising to increase the debt.
Absolutely, I would. I've been working on this for 9 years. If we can get this done, these two guys have helped create a pathway forward on Social Security reform that's long overdue. We can have sustainable solvency. It would be one of the best achievements any 3 senators could ever hope to have. Mike's decision on the debt limit I respect, and he's going to make the best decision for himself in Utah. But I'm very proud of the fact that we have 2 freshman senators who have come to the Senate and are willing to take on hard challenges. And the reason there's not more than 3 of us up here is because a lot of our colleagues are afraid to jump in the water. And I can tell you right now, I've been talking about this. You can win talking about saving Social Security. The third rail of politics is beginning to be false promises by politicians. The American public's figured this out. We've got debt we can't pay off. We've got entitlement programs that are going to fail, and people need help. And the sooner you act, the more people you can help, the more people you can hold harmless, for lack of a better word. And the longer you wait, the more people you're going to have to affect. So I would argue the third rail of politics is going to soon become politicians who won't do the hard things.
Senator Graham, laborman who you could possibly work
Yep.
with on Social Security reform say that reform has to include a mix of benefit adjustments and revenue increases, such as raising the cap on income subject to payroll taxes. Are you rejecting raising?
I'm telling Joe the honest to God's truth. There is no way we're going to increase the amount of income subject to FICA taxes now in 2011. I said in 2005, all things are on the table. In 2011, I can tell you the two things that won't be on the table: personal accounts and raising taxes. They're not on the table, and that is no excuse not to act. We've given you a roadmap to save Social Security from bankruptcy without raising a dime in taxes at a time when it's a bad idea to raise taxes. We're asking people to give, but in a way that's good for the economy. Upper income Americans under our plan have to give up future benefits, $300–400 a month. It's better for them to give up future benefits than it is to raise taxes on them now, because if you raise taxes now, some people will lose jobs. So it's not like we're not asking people to sacrifice. We're doing it in a way that I think creates the most jobs. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, tax policy is about jobs. Entitlement reform is about getting this nation out of unsustainable debt. There is no way on God's green earth to save America from bankruptcy until you deal with entitlements. Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid combined in the next 20 years is going to absorb every dollar of revenue coming to this place. There'll be no money left for anything else. So the truth is, entitlement reform is an economic necessity to deal with our long-term debt. The truth is that tax policy determines job creation.
Senator Harry Reid has said that cutting retirement benefits is off the table. So maybe.
Well, that means we do nothing. Harry Reid said, Social Security is fine, call me in 20 years. To Harry, who is a friend, you don't understand what you're saying. I've been dealing with this for 9 years. If you wait 2 years, our plan won't work. The way we're able to protect people who make $43,000 or less from any means testing is Act Today. In Paul Ryan's plan, they go to the 30th percentile, way below $43,000. So every year you wait, you have to adjust the age more, or you have to affect means testing of people below $43,000. So to Harry, if we wait 20 years, Harry, you're going to have affect benefits for people in the lowest end of the economy, and you're going to have to go well beyond 70. And if you do nothing in 2037, every American is either going to have their taxes increased or their benefits cut. And I can tell you from a young man in 1977, my life in 1977 was totally different than it is today. In 1977, if you had to cut Social Security benefits for my family after my parents died, it would have been devastating. Whenever I retire in the next 10 years, you can take $300 out of my check that I don't yet have, and I'll be fine. But if you wait, it gets harder and harder. So waiting is no longer an option.
Senator, has CBO scored this plan?
Social Security has.
Social Security.
And it's solvent for 75 years with no end in sight, and you protect people who make $43,000 or less from any means testing. I'm proud of this plan.
And one of the previous questions was, would you trade this for a vote on the raising the debt ceiling? I don't think we have to. There is an immutable fact that Social Security is broken. Anybody wants to deny that Social Security is broken, or that Medicare is broken, or that the entitlements are going to consume the whole budget, they're at a loss to try to explain that position. They've got to explain this chart and all this debt that's going to be added. These aren't our numbers. This is Social Security's numbers. Everything's from Social Security. So the debt is mounting. There is a major problem coming. I don't think we have to trade it for anything. Social Security has to be fixed. The question for Harry Reid is, do you do it now, or do you wait and make it more difficult and have the means testing go down to a lower socioeconomic ladder than it's already going to? This fixes it, and there's no excuse for not acting now.
And one thing that Harry said, he didn't want to affect benefits. It is impossible to save Social Security from bankruptcy without adjusting benefits. You cannot raise enough taxes unless you want to completely destroy America. We fixed the hole in the boat. We don't just get a bigger pill to bail more water out. We actually fix the hole in the boat. And to those members of Congress who say that you can make Social Security solvent without adjusting benefits, you really are not looking at the structural problems of Social Security.
Senator Paul, is there anything that the President can do today or promise today that would give him a yes vote from you on the debt ceiling increase?
Yes, I will vote to raise the debt ceiling if we pass a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. I'm willing to compromise. If you'll just call me, I'm willing to compromise.
So the timing, are you guys looking for a direct contrast today with President Obama? And you were going to roll this out a while ago. What was the reason for the delay?
I want to make sure that I'm speaking on the same page as my colleagues. I think they would agree. They can voice their dissent if they don't. It was really quite coincidental. We were going to roll it out, I don't know, a week or two ago, and we decided we just needed a little bit more time to make sure that we got all the numbers straight, to make sure that we understood how best to explain it, and that everything was aligned properly. And we just found out that the president would be giving a speech tomorrow, just in the last couple of days. But in the meantime, we had decided to roll it out this week. So yeah, it's an interesting coincidence.
Last question. Tell us a little more about what you're planning to do regarding the Charleston Port money. Are you going to hold up these nominations?
I am planning to make sure that the Congress and the administration acts responsibly when it comes to job creation in my state, and to make sure the Charleston Port moves forward in a meritorious, orderly manner so we can deepen our port to accept future traffic that would require a 50-foot deep harbor. I'm not going to sit on the sidelines and watch the Port of Charleston fail because people are making irrational decisions. I hate creating problems for any colleagues, but this is the #1 issue for me back at home. And about timing, none of us said, let's just wait till the president changes his mind about entitlement reform. We're not that smart. I'm glad that the president did. The reason it's taken us 2 months, this has been hard. It's been harder than I ever envisioned to make sure Social Security says you've achieved 75 years of solvency. We had a couple of goals: to protect as many people as we could, and we tried consciously to protect as much income from means testing as possible, because I've lived what it means, and these two guys are very sympathetic to the idea that in Kentucky there are a lot of people retiring where Social Security is going to be their main form of income in retirement. And the sooner you act, and by adjusting to 70, we were able to protect people from means testing. And if you wait, you're going to have to means test more aggressively. So let's act now. The president's speech is at 1:30. He's going to have 3 willing partners to help him save Social Security from bankruptcy. But the only way forward that I can envision in this Congress is the way we've charted. So thank you all.
Thank you all.